title of today's talk is Fly Your Plane. What it really discusses is the problems of adolescence, growing up, the problems you are having or will have, and ways of handling it. Now remember, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist, I'm just a dad. This photograph over here is a photograph of me many years ago, about to jump out of a perfectly good Cessna aircraft. Usually I'd sit up front because I've got a pilot's license, and I'm sure most of you have used Flight Simulator and you know exactly how much fun it can be. But if you're flying a real plane, there can be a lot of challenges, and all of us who've flown planes know this. Your engine can run rough, you can get lost, you can be in a position you can't find the airport, your fuel can run low, you can be flying into darkness or bad weather. And that's a considerable stress for anyone flying airplanes. And so they came up with what's called the 4 C's of aviation. And the first one is climb. That means you're in the aircraft, you're in trouble, it's getting dark or whatever it is, apply more power and begin to climb. It'll do 2 things for you. It'll get you a better radio signal to communicate with others. It'll also be more likely that you'll get a radar vector accurately, particularly in hilly areas. The next C is communicate. There are people out there who are prepared to help you. You got to get on the radio, tell them what the situation is and what you want. The third one is confess, and this is the most difficult of all. You've got tough, bluff pilots who want to do tough things, and they're not the types to confess, but they have to confess because the system can't help them unless they tell them the truth. And finally, the fourth one is comply. Whatever the air traffic controllers tell you to do, you got to do it. Turn to a heading of 180, maintain altitude, do it. They'll save your life. They're highly trained. They'll get you down on the ground safely. Now, in certain ways, you and as an adolescent and a teenager and growing up face a lot of stress too. It's nothing new. It's always was there, it always will be. I don't know anyone who didn't go through a difficult time in adolescence. And so I came up with this idea, what if we applied the 4 C's of aviation to you? What if we applied the same idea to handle your stress? Remember, it's a very real stress. Everybody has it. So let's go to the first one, which is climb. Now here obviously you're not in a real airplane, but you can climb out of your sadness and your depression or your unhappiness. And you can do that yourself on your own if you wish. All you got to do is think of a fun vacation you had, or a prize your little league won, or some other things that made you feel happy, having a good time with your friends fishing or something like that. And that'll put you in a positive mood. Do remember that you live in America and you're a very lucky person, but that still can cloud the issue. You've got to remember that you are a unique individual. There has never been anyone exactly like you. You have great value and you have great possibilities if you can overcome this temporary sadness. And you can do it through my code. So we're going to go through climb in a sense of being positive, being happier, realizing how fortunate you are. Remember, you live in America, you'll never starve. You'll have good medical attention, good hospitals. There's a good educational system that you can go through. You can be safe at nights. It's an extraordinary country. I've been fortunate to travel quite a lot of my life, and I've seen extreme poverty in Africa and Asia and Latin America. And sadly, one has to conclude many of these people had no chance. You have a chance. You're lucky. You're amongst the most lucky kids in the world. You're in America. So if you do the climb, then you do the communicate. There's an awful lot of people out there who want to help you. But I know it's hard to confess that you have a problem, to admit that you have a problem. So you look around the people that you can talk to, obviously your parents, your grandparents, school teacher, crazy uncle, friendly cousin, neighbor's dad, who's a friend of yours or whatever. Don't even ignore the school bus driver. I've heard that worked. When you communicate with them, number 3 is the most difficult of all, which is to confess the issues that you have. And don't pretend they're not there, and don't pretend you don't have an issue. Tell them your worries, what you fear, what you are afraid of, what are the basis of your insecurities. Tell them. They'll listen. They want to help you. And then the 4th one is comply. Now, you're not a pilot wrestling your controls in the middle of a thunderstorm. You're just somebody who needs help. And people will help you. They're out there, and they want to help you. But you've got to help them help you. Happy flying.